Mambo vipi watu wangu? Welcome back to Icon Rides Motors. Icon Rides Motors, your car buying channel. So today I'm just doing a casual video. So I have a very nice topic that I'd like to discuss with you guys. So I'm seated in the vehicle and I want to take you through very important notes, okay? Very important notes. To those who have never owned vehicles and to those who consider adding more vehicles. As we continue, technology is changing and so everything else is changing. Okay, so today I want to take you through a few notes, factors that you may consider before purchasing a vehicle. Okay, so stay tuned. Those who haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit the subscription button. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for this and very many more updates. Okay, so if you haven't watched my previous videos, I have very many units that I have in stock. Please watch my previous videos. Okay, so let me take you through. So steps, these are the notes that I'm going to give you about what to consider before buying a car. And next time I'm going to host different people so that we can have different opinions about about this specific topic. Okay, so number one thing you have to consider is the budget. Okay, budget. How much are you willing to spend, or how much can you afford to buy a specific unit? For example, a new unit of this unit that I'm seated in, it's called an NV200. A new unit goes for about 1.5 million. But for a used unit from maybe 2012, like this one is a 2012 model, 850, you see, 850 and 1.3. That's a very big margin. So what can you afford? What's your budget? Okay, how much are you willing to spend on a unit? Because if you go off budget, maybe it may bring you some, it may cause some financial implication. Maybe it will cause you to get stuck somewhere else, because at the moment you commit yourself to buying a unit, remember that's already a liability, because one, you have to do expenses for the fuel, service and everything else that the vehicle needs. Okay, so vehicle is good, yes, but you also have to have the resources to keep the vehicle running smoothly. So one, you consider the budget. Don't overstretch. So when it comes to budget, we have different payment methods that you can do. So if you're flexible with hire purchase, you can do hire purchase. Buy a vehicle on hire purchase. Good business vehicles especially, they are very good if you do hire purchase, because one, it's going to pay itself. Okay, so that's a very important thing to note. You can do trading. If you have another unit, you can trade in your unit and get another unit. But still remember, you check the vehicle, if what you have or what you can what you afford can be able to keep the vehicle running. Don't buy a V8 engine and then you came from a 1500cc engine and maybe the vehicle is 3500 liter or 3.5 liter or a 5 liter engine. That will cause a lot of financial impact. So check yourself well, brace yourself before you consider maybe peer pressure has caused you to buy a larger unit and maybe you cannot be able to afford to run it. And when it comes to budget, maybe you got a vehicle on hire purchase. Please consider buying something that you're going to pay till you clear the balance. Don't take a vehicle that will cost you a lot and then at the end of it all, the vehicle is repossessed. That's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, and it's a waste of investment. Okay, so please check your budget. Number two, what is the usage or the purpose of the vehicle? What is the usage or the purpose of the vehicle? So if you're buying a business car, for example, let's say you want to buy a truck. Of course, you can't buy a truck to use it for personal use. Of course, you can't buy a truck to be carrying your things at home. Maybe you want to go shopping, you go shopping with a truck. Of course, you buy a truck for business. Maybe it's a tipper. You know, it's going to the quarry to carry the stones, to carry the sand and ballast and everything else. So you know the usage and the purpose of this vehicle. Are you using it to commute daily to work? Are you using it to visit the farm? For example, if you're using a vehicle to visit the farm, you should consider how is the network to your farm. If it's a good transport network, maybe it's tarmacked or it has a good road, then any vehicle can go there. Even the small units can go there. But maybe you are going somewhere off-road, muddy, you need a 4x4 unit. Of course, to go in and come out, you need a 4x4 unit. Are you using it for racing? Are you using it for long distance drives? For example, I give you an example with the Mazda CX-5. Mazda CX-5, the diesel units are for long distances. For those who buy those units to use for shorter distances, you know very well that they bring a lot of effect in future, because one, it's going to block the systems. The exhaust systems are going to block, because a diesel unit needs to run so that it can burn and combust everything, okay? So that everything can be cleaned out from the exhaust system, from the engine system and everything. So when you're going to buy such a unit, please consider, if you're using it for a short distance, better go for the CX-5 petrol. CX-5 petrol, because petrol, it combusts very quickly and therefore it doesn't clog anything. But for diesel engines, it can clog very bad and can cause future problems. Then you start saying, oh, Mazda is a problem. Mazda is not the problem. The problem is you do not know what you're using the vehicle for. So when you're buying a vehicle, please consider, what are you buying the vehicle for use? As in, what's the usage, the purpose for this vehicle, okay? Don't just buy a vehicle because it's classy and everything. Please be considerate. Number 3, the type of vehicle. Do you understand what you want? For example, do you want a sedan, you want a hatchback, an SUV, a pickup, a van? That will bring you back to the purpose, okay? If you're a business person, Toyota Probox, of course, you know it's a good vehicle. You can use it for business. Toyota Probox. You can't buy a Honda Fit and expect to use a Honda Fit to go carry charcoal. You expect to buy a Honda Fit and expect to go and carry logs. Of course, it can't carry logs. You're going to kill it very, very quick. But if you're buying the vehicle, maybe you want a hatchback, remember, it will take you back to the purpose. Don't just buy a vehicle because it's a vehicle. So as you buy a vehicle, you check the type of vehicle that you want. If it's a pickup, of course, you know a pickup can do off-road. Most of them are 4x4. You can do off-road, you can carry loads. So it's an added advantage, okay? That's, you consider the type of vehicle. That's point number 3. Point number 4, the preferred engine type. The preferred engine type. Either electric, is it petrol, is it diesel, is it hybrid? Remember, a point to note, hybrid engines, they are not meant for long distance drives. Hybrid engines are not made for long distance drives. So the moment you make a mistake of buying a hybrid vehicle and you are a person who does long distance drives, please remember that it will have a lot of effect on that vehicle, because one, the hybrid engine is meant for short distances so that it can save a lot on fuel and everything. So sorry, there was a bit of interruption. So I was at the point where we said you check the preferred engine type. Is it electric? Is it petrol? Is it diesel? Or is it a hybrid? So I was talking about hybrid engines. Hybrid engines are not made for long distance drives. So if you are a long distance person, please be careful with the hybrid engine. It will damage the batteries, because the moment it overcharges, the batteries definitely are going to be damaged, and that is going to cost you a lot to replace them. So hybrid engines are made for short distance drives. I was speaking about diesel engines. For the diesel engines, they are made for long distance drives. So if you do short distances and you keep it off, it causes the clogging of the system. So hybrid engine, short distances. Diesel engines, long distances. But for petrol, Petrol engines are very okay, very good. You can do short distances, you can do long distances. So petrol engines are fairly good, fairly good. They can do long distances and the short distances without any problem. Now, the electric vehicles, they are not so much common in Kenya, but remember, the electric vehicles, they need charge. You check how much charge you can use for what distance, because remember, those vehicles are charged, and not every point, maybe here on the Kenyan roads, you'll find those chargers for those electric vehicles. So definitely you have to check, where can I find those points to do the charging of this vehicle, and how many kilometers can this electric vehicle take me. So you check the distance it can cover, so that you can do the next recharging. Instead, maybe you're moving from Nairobi to Mombasa, and then maybe the vehicle gets the charge drains maybe in the middle of Mtito, and you're doing a night drive. So what are you going to do? Nobody can jumpstart the vehicle, nobody can help you at all, and you're in the middle of Mtito. So be considerate what the type, the preferred type of engine that you'd like. So that will take you still to the purpose. Okay, the purpose will guide you to this point. And then number 5, the ownership and the maintenance costs. So you consider, number 1, the fuel consumption. You consider the fuel consumption of this vehicle. How much fuel does this vehicle consume per kilometer? Okay, how much does it consume per 100 kilometers? Okay, so this one is still going to guide you on the point of budget. If you consider maybe a 2.5 liter engine, maybe a Mark X, the consumption of a Mark X and the consumption of a Honda Fit, very different. Okay, a Honda Fit can do about 15 kilometers per liter, but for a 2.5 liter engine, expect less, 7 or even somewhere there, depending on your driving style. So as you're buying a vehicle, you consider the maintenance cost, which is the fuel consumption. How much fuel is it going to consume, so that it doesn't bring you problems. Maybe you put, for example, if you do the Mercedes-Benz, they're so sensitive. If you put, you are the person who does 500 shillings every time, you're going to damage the fuel pump of a Mercedes-Benz. The Mercedes-Benz need at least you have a bit of fuel, so that you can cover the fuel pump, it doesn't burn. Okay, so if you're buying a vehicle, please be careful. You don't just buy a vehicle because you've seen people buying, or because you had the money and you think that you can buy. Remember, you still run, you need to run that vehicle. You're not just buying it today and keeping it in the house. You want to run, do your daily errands and everything else. As you go and show off, remember, it's using the fuel. And if you're doing poor, maybe you're putting fuel, maybe 500 shillings, remember, it can cost you a lot. A fuel pump, just check online how much the fuel pump of a Mercedes-Benz cost. Even just take a basic unit, a C180, just check online how much that vehicle fuel pump costs. Okay, another point, the repair costs. Maybe you're going and you're driving, and then all of a sudden, maybe you get maybe someone gets on your way and they damage your vehicle, or maybe you accidentally hit someone from behind. How much are you going to use to repair your vehicle? Maybe you haven't had that comprehensive insurance, you have a third-party insurance. How much is it going to cost you to repair that vehicle? You have to consider that very much, because if you don't consider that, it may cause you to, maybe in case of anything, you're going to park that vehicle. And as I told you, when it comes to fuel, if you do 500 shillings and you damage that fuel pump for the Mercedes-Benz, are you going to park that vehicle, or are you just going to replace it ASAP and continue with what you are doing? Repair cost, very important. And then availability of spare parts. That's where people go wrong. If you buy a unit, please do research before buying that unit. How available are these spares everywhere else across the country? Kirinyaga Road, Nairobi, Mombasa, all those spare places that you know. Consider, ask, inquire, go online, because everything nowadays is online. So check online if there are available spares for this unit. Okay, that's a very important point to note, because maybe you'll need a replacement for a shock, and imagine it's not there. What will you do? Will you park your vehicle because you don't have that shock absorber? Consider that. Point number 6, is it a luxury vehicle? Check the safety and extra features of the vehicle. This is what I mean. You think about the audio quality, how the vehicle is, the speakers are made, what quality is that vehicle? Cameras, does it have cameras, eyesight and everything, parking sensors, sunroof, heated and cooled seats, leather seats. It has these functions like the cruise control, power tailgate, power seats, all those. Consider. If you want a basic vehicle, well and good, but remember this point, you also check on your finance. Brings us back to point number 1, your budget. A vehicle that has sunroof, any market, a vehicle that has maybe it's fully loaded, I mean has sunroof, has power seats, has heated and cooled seats, has cruise control, has sensors, the price for the same unit with the one that is very basic, very, very different, very big margin. So that brings us to point number 1, budget. So as you take this point of you consider the luxury, the safety and extra features, don't forget about your budget. Don't forget about your budget. That's very, very crucial, very, very important before purchasing a vehicle. So don't just buy because you've seen it has a sunroof, then you die for it. No. Remember, you still need to service that vehicle. You still need to run that vehicle. You still need to do your own business. You still need to do your own investments. Let not a car be a liability. A vehicle is good, but it can become a liability if you don't check before you buy. Okay. Number 7, the driving experience. So you take a vehicle, when you come, for example, to our showroom, we like to encourage a customer to take a test drive. You drive the vehicle and you decide how it feels. You get that one-on-one experience with the vehicle. You feel it, how it drives, how it shifts the gears, as you change the lane, how it feels. Maybe you might be changing lanes and then maybe a vehicle, maybe it starts to maybe to jerk and everything. As it shifts gear, you feel there is that sound. A vehicle, as it shifts gears, it's supposed to shift very smoothly. As you accelerate, it's supposed to accelerate very smoothly. So you check the driving experience. You can do a test drive, take at least a kilometer or 2. Feel it, go to a hilly place, you feel how it reacts to a steep place, feel how it reacts to an off-road, somewhere that is a bit rough. Feel how that vehicle behaves to that. Okay. Point number 8, the condition. The condition of the vehicle. Do you want a brand new unit? A 0 mileage? There are 0 mileages, but the price, of course, the price tag is a bit higher. Do you want a second-hand import? That's what we know as a new vehicle here in Kenya. Second-hand import. That's what you'll find here in Kenya. The 2017 units, the 2016, the 2015, the 2018. Those are second-hand imports. Do you want a locally used unit? We have so many locally used units, like this one I'm seated in. It's a locally used unit, but it's very clean, very clean, very, very clean. Do you want a rebuild? There are people who buy old vehicles and then they do a project for themselves and they do whatever they can do with the vehicle. They make it as perfect as possible. You tune it, you do everything you want, and it becomes even better than a modern vehicle that someone else owns. Okay. So that's a very important point to note. Which condition do you want your vehicle? What can you handle, in short? What can you handle? What do you love? Okay. And then point number 9, mechanic's opinion. If you can find a professional mechanic, someone who you trust, to inspect that vehicle for you before you buy it, you get a mechanic, comes, inspect that vehicle for you, and then that opinion will matter a lot, because there are so many people who buy these fresh imports from Japan, but maybe it's not from Japan, it's from other markets. Japan, they have a very serious inspection before they deliver vehicles to Kenya. So the Japan market, very nice, that one I can't complain. But other markets, they can bring to you a vehicle, maybe it was stolen from another country and then it's brought here to Kenya and you are given. Maybe that vehicle has mechanical issues, they just send it to Africa, okay? So it's good to get a professional mechanic, not just a mechanic, a person who you trust, who you know, so that they can check for you that vehicle, and then you make sure that the vehicle is 100%. And if there is any issue, something that can be fixed, okay? Because there are vehicles that you can buy, maybe it has an issue with the engine, gearbox. Those are things that you can replace. You just buy the vehicle, maybe the body is okay, everything is intact except the gearbox. You buy the gearbox, you fix it, and it runs smoothly. But if it's something that is not fixable, run, my friend, run. Don't compromise. Don't compromise, because you don't know to what extent that vehicle can cost you. Brings us to point number 1, the budget. Okay, so that's a very important point to note. And then the last point, if you're a married person, please consult your partner. Don't go buy a vehicle that is 2-seater and you have a family, you have children. Where will you carry your children as you go, maybe for shopping and everything else? Where will you carry your children? Maybe you buy a vehicle that is too small, that even your wife gets in and sits as if they are not comfortable. So if you're a married person, please consult your spouse, consult your partner, so that you can make a decision together. When you buy a unit, you buy something that you are in unison, so that you can decide on something that you two are comfortable with. Don't just buy a vehicle because you saw it in the market. Buy something that you know can suit you and your family, okay? Can suit you and your family. But if you have you are well able to buy anything else, I'm okay with that. Maybe you have a family vehicle and then you buy your own vehicle that you want to do your own, you want to go to the boys whatever, to the girls whatever, it's okay, that's fine. But if you don't have that much money to spend on vehicles, please consider consulting your partner, consulting your spouse, so that you can be in unison with what you need to buy. Thank you for listening to me. Follow Icon Rides Motors, your car buying channel. So for those who haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my YouTube channel for these and very many more lessons, very many more offers. We are entering a season of offers, and I said there are units that I said if you buy, we give you free fuel on every purchase. Okay, so call my numbers that will always be scrolling down here. Call me, then inquire about any unit that you may need. Feel free to call me, but don't call on odd hours. Messages are not very good, so please call if you can, so that we can do business. See you on my next video for these lessons and very many more updates about used units. Okay, adios.